Rodders, episode 2 coming up. Evening. It's been what a response to the first episode, first of all.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have been asking me random stuff on Facebook where the ideas come from, but I think the response to Ben, having not really met Ben and sat down with Ben, so I'm pointing at the chair, obviously not there, but is as a, for Ben having the chat and his stories and what he's done so far and where he wants to go with the club going forward and everything else at Treforest is mad. But yeah, I think the feedback we've had from for 5 days of it being live.
We're going with the word feedback, are we? Nothing work now, you prick.
I'll go with the word feedback. I don't give a shit.
The response has been brilliant, and thanks to everyone. There's people I haven't heard from in years actually been reaching out and just saying they've enjoyed it, and that's great. And hopefully that continues, because if not, it must mean Ben was good and we were just hanging on to his coattails. So
talking to work speak, please don't say reaching out. I want to start singing Sweet Caroline.
What's wrong with reaching out?
Oh, reaching out.
Come on, you've had an alcohol-free lager now. You can
reaching out. Anyway,
yeah, I'm on my third drink. It's all right.
Yeah, you crack on.
Response has been great. For those who are enjoying it, don't forget to subscribe and like and share whatever it is you're doing. Share the hell out of it. Because it all helps us spread the word, really. So, but yeah, in under a week, so we're 6 days since we went live, and it's now nearly 1,200 views and downloads and whatever else. So they're brilliant. So thanks very much, everybody. Hopefully that you're going to enjoy today. But before we get to today's episode, we've had a football tournament this weekend, haven't we?
We have. We're in the London United's home dressing room or home building. Tournament over the back on the university this weekend. My mighty Cwmbrân Pumas under 14s. We unfortunately lost on penalties in the semi-final, but we didn't actually lose. We won 2, drew 2. Really good roasting, really hot on 3G. But yeah, some interesting activities with certain clubs being docked points and throwing their toys out the pram and everything else, and maybe not the final four that we thought were going to be in the semi-finals, but it was a good test for my boys who've only been together for a year. I'm highly critical of them on certain things, but yeah, it was good. It was good. We lost to Cardiff All-Stars semi-final, local side. Good game. I think if we'd have gone on another 2 minutes, we'd have won. We'd battered them, but yeah, eventful Sunday. Sunburn, but we had a good Sunday. I was
going to come down and watch, but we had Pencoid's presentation on Saturday night, and I had one too many ciders. So by the time I woke up, I think you'd already played 2 games, so I chickened out. But I was at the same thing on Saturday. I had a different experience to you. I was refereeing Saturday morning. I had 5.5 hours of refereeing 11-a-side football under 15s.
Nice.
Not built for that, am I? Let's be honest. So, first game, 1 minute to go. I had a mass brawl. So that was a good start to the day. Then there was, so we calmed all of that down, and it was all okay in the end. But then one of the semi-finals, there was about a 15-minute melee and all sorts of stuff going on. So then we had to change the pitch. The final was on. But well done to Penlan, only team from Swansea in it. And they would probably deserve winners in the end. But I have to say, what a great tournament. All, those couple of things aside.
Very well organised.
I can't claim any sort of responsibility for how well that's run. It's very much down to Sarah Mason, Rob Mason, a few of the other key people on the committee that really just make all of that happen. So a shout out to those guys. Yeah. I was glad I was able to help in a small way, but it was fantastic over in the new facilities there. And long may that continue. Dean Morris today then. So we've just recorded. Interesting insight. Obviously, I've known Dean a bit longer than you. But what do you make of it?
Yeah, I think for what it was, in terms of the time-wise, lots of stories, lots of great stories from him across the years of what he's been doing, who he's been playing with, some of the players he's played with, players he's managed, some of the challenges he's had with modern recent times in coaching. But yeah, really, really, really interesting having known Dean, the painter and decorator, and
City and Guilds, isn't he?
City and Guilds. I'm still waiting for my house to be decorated, Dino. Yeah, having known Dean, the guy, obviously known Dean on social media, you obviously know you've worked with Dean a lot more. It's great to be able to sit down and talk to him all things football.
He's known as a wind-up merchant, didn't he? But he's a top man for the shithousery as well.
Oh yeah,
during games, which something I've always loved about Dean. And when he used to try and pull that shit with me, I just used to laugh at him because I know what he's like. But there's really interesting story in the pod today, isn't it, about a time at Barrytown where he's caused absolute murder when he's manager of Cwmbran Celtic. But when people hear the full story about what he'd been sort of going through that day, people might have a different view on
100%.
maybe what he did. And to be honest, from me, the thing I thought about that was fair play to you. When you hear the full story, fair play to you turning up to a football match and giving a toss what the result is. Let alone trying to, do your best or be sort of tactically aware. I mean, just to turn up was something different. So
100%.
Yeah, I think people will enjoy it. It's been the one that people have been on to us about ever since we said we were doing this podcast. I don't think he let us down. And we ended it at like an hour and 20, and he stayed here for about another hour and a half after that, chatting to us about football, didn't he? So it could have been one of those Joe Rogan podcasts to go on for 4 hours if we hadn't cut it short. So maybe that's license to get him on in the future.
Dean Morris episode 2, once he's got his project up and running at Treforest.
Don't say Dean Morris and project together.
That's why I did it. Dean Morris project episode 2, maybe in further down the line this season. But we'd be interested to know how he's gets that up and running.
Absolutely.
Obviously, his pre-season starts soon, so good luck to him.
And for all you Treforest players now, just believe in the process. Dean would be delighted to hear us say that.
To the process and work on your low press.
Yeah, and Dean, I hope this doesn't mean you're going to stop winding people up on Twitter, because it's one of my favourite things to do when I'm bored. So fair play, and thanks for coming on. So we'll make a start on the episode, shall we?
Let's go.
Thanks for listening, everyone. So, Dean, the most eagerly awaited conversation I think ever. Honestly, I had to switch notifications off on my phone when we put out there last week on Twitter that you were next up. So we have got some questions that have been sent in, but we'll drip them in as we go. So you want to check Rod's actually going to speak today? Is that right?
Yeah, I've got a few things for you, mate. You're okay.
We've had a few messages giving him a bit of stick for just sitting there quiet last week. Do you know what I mean? But so Dean, there's a lot of people only know Dean Morris on Twitter, right? So hopefully today we're gonna unpack the person that is Dean Morris, the one that I met years ago when I started coaching at Aberdare, and obviously that was towards the end of your playing days, but you've done lots as a player and as a manager. And a lot of people nowadays, because that's how youngsters are, they don't realise there was a past. Like, they just think you're this wind-up merchant on Twitter. They don't actually realise that you've been around.
Yeah, it's been.
What makes you do it on Twitter? Because it's one of my favourite things when I get a notification saying Dean Morris has tweeted right what he said.
It is an opinion-based site.
Yeah, totally.
So I never have a pop with people on Twitter. You'll have a Barney or a slight Barney because you want to put your opinion over. But yeah, I would never take it that serious where I'd want to
people
threaten somebody or something. But yeah, it's and to be fair, I've been pretty right a lot of it. I remember 5-6 years ago the Rashford thing. I banged on all through lockdown.
Yeah.
And everybody was like, "Oh, you're racist, you're this, you're that." No, I just don't like him as a player. I don't like his attitude. There's something about the guy I don't like. You prove right with that, haven't you?
Martial was mine.
Martial, another one. Yeah.
Years I spent not knowing what he was about. But what's the most famous one with you is the badges thing, isn't it? And we were joking last week with Ben, obviously, that we've heard rumours you're doing your badges and stuff like that now. But is that true, first of all?
Yeah, it is true.
Yeah.
That's
fantastic.
I've done
Why is that then? Before we get into why you used to take the piss out of people.
Similar to what Ben said last. I just think there's a massive part of football that's dying in Wales because some of the older generation, as in me, 54 nearly, not too old, but these coaches got their badges are great and they can do stuff that I can't do and I don't want to do, but they're coaches. But what a lot of the clubs I think are making mistakes, they're making a lot of these coaches managers.
Yeah.
And I just think they're missing a chance here that, you know, there's some older guys in the game who've been around, got good life experiences, you know, that they're missing that. And I, you know, if I still want to be involved, I got to, because you got to go to this Cymru app, you've got to have your name on it. So I thought, you know what, I'll do a tick box. I'm not afraid to say it's tick box. I've done a first aid, I've done the other one, whatever it is.
Safeguarding probably, is it?
So, you know, I can go on the app. But I do think, as you know, Shaman are to blame because they're making these coaches. You know, there's coaches having jobs. They've relegated three teams in a year, but they're still getting jobs over perhaps some of me just because they got the badge.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, how are they now? And I picture myself.
Do you think?
Them.
I mean, it's part of the criteria now, isn't it? Was it C for Aberdare and then B for? So, but that's relatively new, isn't it? That trend of they've got a B license, we'll make him a manager. That's been going on years now.
Maybe, but I don't see how a 20-year-old, 21, 22-year-old kid, he's taking a Welsh League team, Cymru South team once a week on a Wednesday night, and you've got Di coming in, 32-year-old, just split with his missus, hitting the bottle, haven't seen his kids for a month, and you've got this 20-year-old kid who does an hour and a half on a Wednesday, he's going to sort his head out before the game on a Saturday. Yeah. No, he's clueless, oblivious with it. And this is a problem.
Right. Well, that's true in all walks of life. It's not just football, is it? Yeah. You know, obviously I'm from the world of golf club management, and I think I was a golf club GM at 27, and I was national news because no one would trust a 21-year-old with that. Do you know what I mean? And you're right. It is that stuff you're talking about.
I get it. If they want to get on, they want to progress to a professional game. Look, crack on, brilliant. If you get to a professional club and you can coach in academies, brilliant. But for me, when you're coaching at around this level, and the Cymru South is getting more, so we see professional, even though there's no professional teams, but it is getting better. I think the standard, the facilities are better, certainly more money, as we know. But it's still the same system. These teams train once a week, 2 hours on a Wednesday night, maybe some train twice, I don't know. And
if you're lucky.
But yeah, some of these coaches are probably brilliant putting a session on. But I think a lot at this level is you've got to get in them boys' minds, you've got to get them fired up to go out. And it's hard for them to do that because they are a coach, they're not the manager.
Do you know the thing I'd say about the whole coaching thing as well? As you know, I did my badges years ago because he used to take the piss out of me for it. But genuinely, I think all I came out of those badges with was I felt like I had more like drills in my locker, which nowadays I could probably find on YouTube. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, obviously, I built a great network of people from those courses, and I think that's part of what it's supposed to be as well. Like, but I think putting on a good set, it can be a good session, and it can be completely irrelevant for what you're going to do on Saturday, can't it? And I've seen that, and do you know what? Over the years, I genuinely think I've fallen into that myself. And remember back at Cwmbrân, for some reason, doing some session about playing out from goal kicks. You know how I play football. When's my team ever done that?
Yep, exactly.
So why did I waste 90 minutes of everyone's life doing that?
Yep.
That I've obviously picked up a session somewhere and done it, and I had a word with myself after it.
I watched the game. I think it was some big game, some playoff game in the Welsh Prem 2 or 3 years ago, maybe in Barry Town or something. I think they were playing Cwmbrân, and it made me chuckle at 20 to go. And I think Gavin Chester was manager at the time, and he's, doing well for himself and everything. But I think 20 minutes to go, all them badges and all them courses we've done, he went to the long throw. Stuck hoodie on, Jonathan Hood, we all know, throws it like as far as most people can kick it.
Yeah.
And for 20 minutes, it was just that. And I'm thinking, disappointed really, got all them badges, and I got all that experience, and but what have I gone for? I've gone for a long throw to try and get him back in the game.
That long throw thing's funny, innit? It was a long time ago, but it was pre-COVID season. We on Llanrumney's old ground, and it was Llanrumney who'd just been promoted. playing Cardiff Corries, who were an exciting young team at the time. It was before a lot of the well-known names came in, should we say. And they were football, and they were, passing comment about the fact that we were playing down the channels and stuff in the first half. And then it's funny how it changed when we went 2-0 up, and they had this boy with a long throw, and he was going into the box from their own half.
That was massive, absolutely massive. Sure.
But yeah, I mean, I've only had a team once that's got someone who can chuck it like that, and I'll be honest, I use it from the first minute.
Yeah,
absolutely not embarrassed to do it at all.
When you do it, you're the winner.
Yeah.
But I think there's too much now, and it's filtering down the leagues from obviously Premiership, filtering all the way down. The amount of time of year that the coaches this time of year, and then 5 games in, we're doing really well. Continue what we're doing, and we're going to be all right. And I look at the table, I'll have a look at the table, and they bottom. I'm going to point. I'm thinking, well, keep going, you'll be doing all right. Well, you keep going, you won't relegate. But the philosophy, and that's, I'm different. I've been lucky to play in winning teams, so I've, sort of brought up on it. You do whatever it takes to win. Simple as.
Yeah. But
if you ever play football, great. But if you can't, and there's a day you've got to dig in and knock the channels all game, that's what you do.
Yeah. You used to, I remember coaching against you rather than obviously playing days and stuff like that. But it seemed very obvious to me, even when you had that really good Ton Pentre team, the first 20 minutes, we just spent the old time, whenever we'd lose the ball, we may as well turn and run back to our own goal because it's going down the channel now.
Don't concede first, right?
Like, obviously not the whole game, but it was noticeable in the early period. If it's tight, it go down the channel and we're running back together again. Yeah.
When I was brought up playing against and with, players then like your Phil Greens and Kevin Richards, Brian Gibsons, and your Brian Gullets and all these guys up Ton and Taffswell and teams, and they were old dogs. And that's what I was taught as 18, 19-year-old. First 20, you just don't concede. You channel.
Yeah.
Settle yourself in the game, and then you get on it. But I don't know. It's different today, isn't it?
Well, it's one of the things actually that you've seen even when you ref games. With my under 14s, 15s team is I religiously talk about the whole throw-ins down the line, win the ball, get your head up, play forward. And sometimes people ask me on the side, they'll say, "Why do you not throw it in there?" I'm like, no, down there. And the whole conversation around make them face their own goal, even to 13, 14, 15-year-old boys now, it's taken a year for them to realise and go, "Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Like, score a goal, run in the corner.
Yeah.
Off you go." Taking a year. And now they're going, "Oh, yeah, I understand what you're saying."
Yeah.
But it is.
It'll go back to when I flight college last year, with 14 games to go. Had the call, go up there, went in, bit of a mess there. That's what I done. I didn't really sign the player, just got organised. Told them no messing, we're going to route 1. The midfielder's going to get busy, brought a couple of reserve boys in who were fit. And I think we won 9, drew 2, lost 3, something like that. Finished mid-table in 14 games,
Yeah.
So it was nothing rocket science. It was just going back to basics, really.
Yeah.
I think the basics are forgotten a lot now in the game.
Yeah.
Work hard, win your headers, win your tackles, set pieces.
When it happened, so I refereed on Saturday tournament in the ground next door there, and I refereed for 5.5 hours on Saturday, 11 aside. I'm not built for that, am I?
3G.
There's some heat going on. I'm not built for that, am I? And anyway, first game, goes out for a goal kick. Goalkeeper sprints to get the ball, puts the ball down, passes it square to the fullback, who passes it back to the keeper first time, hits it straight into his own goal. And I thought, I know I'm going to be talking about that on Monday night. Do you know what I mean?
Rewarded by the coach, probably.
And do you know the mad thing? They lost that game 1-0. And what do you think every goal kick did for the rest of the game? Halfway line it went. And they were probably the better team, but they lost and went out in the first round because of this, whatever it is they've seen on Match of the Day. They've seen Manchester City do it. So this 14-year-old lad that plays for a local club from Newport is now going to try and do the same thing. And
it's crazy.
It happens all over the place. I played then on the Sunday with my boys, and the same thing. Everyone's going, "Well, you're 1-0 up in knockout, 20-minute football, knockout group thing, right? 1-0 up. All right, well, no. Keep playing the same way.
Yeah.
Keep playing the same way. You're not a 1-0. No, not happening." It's the whole mentality of it these days. Is that exactly that?
But I think that's where we go back to, because they get a badge. That's my thing. They get a badge. They think they can do what they say.
Play.
You're doing it every day, you know.
Yeah.
But that's.
But you do have to, in any walk of life, whether it's sport or work, whatever it is you're doing, part of being really good at something is having some emotional intelligence, but also having the intelligence to know what level of player, person, employee, whatever it is you're working with, isn't it? And I think that's what's got lost more than anything, is that, you know, we seem to think that whether we're a Lions Division 2 team or a Welsh Premier team with a £500 a game striker, that we can all play this wonderful stuff that we see on the television, and not everyone's good enough for they. Yeah. And one of the beauties, I think, of football is there's so many ways to do it. Mm-hmm. You know, it's not just one way to play, but I do think there's pushback against it. But I think of some of the people I did coaching badges with, and I know they're really good coaches now, and some of them have become managers, and some of them have only ever been coaches. But my favourite example of, so I did my C license years ago, C certificate as it was, with Lee Bridgman, right? Now, Bridgie's one of the classics that you're talking about. Played for years, was quite successful as a player, then coached down here at Llanrumney, and he was like, oh, better get a badge. But he never took training or anything like that. I don't think he ever took training. And I was in the group when he was doing his final assessment, and he'd been given shooting. And I'm going to do his accent today. Sorry, Bridge. So he says, all right, I want you to plant your foot, right, next to the ball and fucking smash your foot through it. And he's all mic'd up like we are now. You know what I mean? And that's... But, do you know what? I understood what he meant. Yeah. But he got marked down for it, I think. I think he just about got through. But, he's classic probably of someone that, if you asked him, he probably wouldn't have done it if he didn't have to. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Because he kind of knew enough as it was. He was a youth worker, so he already knew how to organise sports sessions. But, I think he went down the route of doing it because it's what you're seen to do, But do you know what? I was telling someone about it last week, can't remember. Before you ever became a coach or anything else, you used to play a bit, didn't you? Okay. So people don't realise that. So tell us about what was kids football for you?
Fantastic, best years of your life, loved it.
But what was home? What was the home club?
Back in Aberdare, yeah, and then I made my Welsh League debut at 15.
15.
With Aberdare, then Aberdare signed me. A guy called Owen Worthington went up there, and then I went somewhere else, and I went to Taffs at 18, and some good players around. Just who you learnt off, and it was fantastic. Brilliant. Absolutely loved my days,
So you had some older heads when you were that age, you kind of learned the basics from. And
Phil Clay was manager at Taffs. You had Phil Green there.
Phil Green.
Carl Toggill, Mark Gibson, Paul Stevens. I don't know, can't think of all of them, but yeah.
Mark Gibson.
Dougie John.
Mark Gibson. I met Mark Gibson when I was about 21, and I was working in a place in Nangaru called Bowlplex, as it was called at the time. It's something else now, but it became a nightclub on the weekend, and it was like the OK Corral. It was just a mass brawl every week, and Gibbo was a bouncer, right? And even it was mad, and there was fights galore. No one went near him. I could tell he can obviously look after himself.
Yeah, he was a tough guy on the field.
I bet he was. Yeah.
He just.
So that was at Taffs you played with him.
Taffs and Ponte, yeah. And then I went to Ton in. I think it was about 20, something like that.
Yeah, I was going to say, because you were how many seasons were you at Ton Pentre?
Oh, God knows, I stayed there for years then. I can't remember how many. Got to be 12, 13, and then I left to Aberdare, back to Ponte, and then back to Ton as manager.
Yeah. So you skirted over a lot there. How many Welsh Leagues at Ton?
6, 5 on the trot though, 5 on the bounce. And then obviously Aberdare, we won one. and then back to Ton as manager.
Yeah.
They got relegated in first year, unbeaten.
So who's the managers you're playing for there at Ton Pentre?
Ex-Welsh international.
Right.
70s. Brilliant, really old school. You know,
Yeah.
there's no messing. Played for Bristol City, Cardiff, Newport. I think he'd won Welsh Cup. And then Kevin Richards, who was like absolute fabulous player.
Yeah. That's the first manager I encountered when I was in
Crazy.
coaching and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, an absolute lunatic. Yeah.
If you played for him, he was like, you know, you want to go through a brick wall for the guy.
Yeah.
He was just fabulous. But a very, very good player.
Yeah.
Excellent.
He used to pick up some touchline bands, didn't he?
Yeah, he had a few. But yeah, and then
He used to walk on the pitch. Did you ever see him when he was manager of Ton Pentre?
he was,
I don't think so. There'd be a decision, right? You'd look to your left, because the dugouts used to be quite far apart, didn't they, at Ton, and the other side to where they are now.
throwing that.
He'd be like 30, 40 yards on the pitch, like trying to shout at the referees.
Yeah.
But people got to know him, didn't they, right? So it was the type of thing, you'd do that and you'd think, oh, he's going to get sent off now. And
I think he got
Kev used to get away with me. Just nudge him back in the
in the end, he got done. I think he sort of,
Yeah.
especially when we stopped winning,
Yeah.
I think he found it harder. We had a good team with our 5 on the trot, and we probably, you know, we should have gone up to Welsh Premiers, but we didn't. And I think when that sort of broke up after about 10 years, it was harder. The players not around.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think he went a step for, you know, he got worse.
Yeah.
You know, he wasn't great when we were winning. We averaged loss then. We 2 or 3 games a year.
Yeah.
You know, and it was always another club with money. It was my Steg, Mark Jones was at my Steg,
Yeah.
and then it was Goitra. So there was always somebody who had money to compete with us. But
Yeah.
yeah, when we didn't win 1 or 2, then he'd lose it like even worse.
Yeah.
But fabulous guy.
I
Can't be
remember going up there with Dennis Powys. I was working with Nick Tucker, and we'd gone in with about a third of the season left, and it wasn't looking good. So the brief was keep them up, and we've gone up to Ton Pentre on a midweeker,
Yeah.
and Andrew Mainwaring was playing up front
Oh, yeah.
for Ton Pentre,
Yeah.
and they've absolutely battered us the entire first half. And I think we're 3-0 down with about 5 minutes left to half time. We've scored a sloppy one. I didn't listen to Tux half time. I went and stood in the shower and listened to the absolute head fit he was having, because they just let us back in the game. I reckon if we were still there now, we wouldn't have got it back to 3-3.
No.
But like, you could just tell the standards of the guy. And,
Fire in him is
Yeah.
like every year, you know, your pre-seasons, you didn't even see a ball. Like
yeah,
we were fittest in the league. People say,
yeah,
"How do you keep winning?" We could compete with us fitness way.
yeah.
And I know people say, "Oh, they fit in them." No, they weren't.
Did that enable you to keep people, do you think, sometimes because you've got someone like that, that they sort of don't want to let down and they fall in love with,
He
like,
was a good manager as well. You know,
Yeah.
I'd had offers to go to Netherlands, Cwmbran, into Cardiff, and I don't know. You just go to pre-season with Kevin. You just. I knew what going away I was signed. You know, it don't matter what they were offering, I was staying.
yeah.
You just.
When you say he's a good manager, in what way? Like what?
I don't know. I liked all the old school training. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I loved the running. I was brought up on it.
Yeah,
So I loved the physicality, even in the changing room. You know what I mean? You knew what you were going to have if you didn't perform.
yeah,
So I liked all that. It's old school, I know.
Yeah.
But yeah, you probably couldn't do it today
yeah.
because a lot of boys.
There was a reserve team manager who went on to manage a couple of Welsh League clubs. Taffswell, he was reserve team manager. Rob Ellis, do you ever come across him?
Of the name.
He was like that. He was old school. He again, not a coach, but he took one pre-season training session once when I was doing the youth team at Taffswell. Oh my God. It was like something out of that SAS Who Dares Wins on TV. It was absolutely unbelievable. But that's what he was like as a manager.
Yeah.
Just a straight talking guy.
Yeah.
But again, players all loved him.
Yeah, well, that's
Do you know what I mean? It was it's a strange one, because sometimes I think you've got people in life, not just in football, they're like too nice to people that don't deserve it because they want to be liked. But the ones that are really liked in football, I've found, are the ones that sometimes they're quite tough on people sometimes.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's how you, and it is different. You know, we do mother our kids. I do with my boys. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Tea, you got about fucking 5 choices. My day, piece of 6, if you're not at 6, you know, piece of toast, yeah. I would it. Now it's like, do you want chicken nuggets? Do you want curry? Do you want it? And like,
And we got like 4 different things on the go in the
give them
kitchen.
so much choice in life, you know.
Yeah.
And we try to give them so much, but I don't think it helps them sometimes, you know. I think
No.
sometimes it makes them a bit too fragile and nice.
So what prompted in the end the move away from Ton Pentre? Because that's it's a long time to be somewhere, but also when you've been so successful somewhere, and to be fair, even now with the struggles, it's still a club it's got a following, hasn't it?
Yeah. I'd done like, I don't know, must have been 12, 13 years here, and my father passed away. That was a big thing for me. I carried on for a couple of years, but yeah, you watched every game and I missed him on the side, and I just needed to get away.
Right, okay.
So, and when I went away then, I couldn't wait to get back here when I was asked. Cause you know, it was sort of my club, like I loved it. But yeah, just that really. I knew my time was coming to the end, you know, I mean, at 33, 34, back was playing up. Yeah.
So it was 2 years at Aberdare?
I think 2 years, yeah.
So first year was...
We finished 3rd or 4th or something.
You must have been 4th or 5th, I think.
Something like that.
Because it was the year, your first year would have been Goitra champions.
Yeah.
We were second at Dinas Powys, and Ton Pentre were in it as well, in the title race. So, we were... That was the 3, and then it would have been yourselves and Bryn Tyrion after that, I would have thought.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you did that season, and then the second season, that's when I first encountered you.
Yeah.
Coaching wise,
I didn't think I'd play that year because my oldest boy was born and my back was playing up, and then Di Morgan obviously was signing some, you know, players, wasn't he? I think Maxwell come in, and
so
I think he brought Grant.
Midfield, we had Grant came in, Grant Thomas. We had Leighton Maxwell signed that summer.
Summer's come.
Chris, Dan Hooper.
There's a few signings.
Dan Hooper, Danny Street came in and do a job in midfield, or could do a job in midfield.
She come, Mickey Jones, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't think I'd play regular, and I think I ended up playing like 35 out of 36 games. And
strange how you think, isn't it? Because when I agreed to go there, I went to Di's offices in Cardiff Bay. Never in a conversation that you weren't going to be
I didn't
in the middle of midfield, but your own perception is, he's trying to get me out.
But I just thought, you know. And I think it was the first game we played on Caldicott. I think he picked me. I think he went with me, Grant and Maxie, and I think me and Maxwell scored, and we had a good game, and that was it. Never looked for me. Yeah, I enjoyed that season actually. Really enjoyed it. Yeah, it was good.
It was a weird one though, wasn't it? There was some weird times.
We weren't great. But like you said, when you were Chrissy Summers, then he signed Richie Ray, and I think the Christmas.
Yeah, because Chris dislocated his elbow, didn't he? And he missed about 4 months.
They didn't click. We know, as you know, as you knew Richie and Summers wouldn't click.
Yeah.
But you knew as well, as long as you got enough ball up to the two.
Give them chances. Yeah.
You're always going to score a goal a game with them. One of them will always score.
Yeah,
and that's basically what we did. We just got as much ball to them as we could. And you knew if you made 3-4 chances a game, you'd score 2 and 2 and that's right.
I've just had a flashback. First game of the season at Caldicott. It was
2-0, I think we won. 2-1.
So I've persuaded Di because I felt we needed more legs in midfield. Because as you say, you were older, Maxie was older, and obviously the season before I saw who the main boys for us were when we were second in the league, and I persuaded him against his better judgment to bring in Jason Cowan, because Jason was an absolute athlete on the other player, strong and just at the heart of 3 men, and he signed him, but he couldn't play because he hadn't signed him in time.
Right.
And while you were all out playing, he cut all your socks up, didn't he?
Oh, he's
right. And that's the story I've heard so many times. But the boys weren't happy because he wasn't one of the boys yet, was he? So
I thought he was fine.
And he's and Di had expensive Ralph Lauren socks or something, didn't he? And Jason's cut the toes out of them. I thought he might have been sending him back to Dennis that night.
Yeah, he played on the left then, I think he played a bit on the left, and then he'd come in, or I know he drifted between positions.
Because the formation changed a bit, didn't it? Because he was 4-4-2 at the start of the season, and it was just like lots of teams were playing with three in the middle. And I think it was Pip and myself. It took about 6 weeks, but to be fair, once he saw it once, he was like, "Yeah, we need to be three in the middle." But yeah, I got to ask. We've never had the conversation. I think we had Clive, didn't we, as well?
Oh,
Guy's mate Clive, the sports psychologist guy.
They're all in now. Di was 20 years in himself.
And I used to be stood like by the shower, and when the team talk, and of course he's like a shooter, isn't he, Di? So you think he's going to give you a Braveheart speech, and then he go, he say, right, last minute, Clive, over to you, and here comes Clive, and he talks like this, and he says,
So,
okay.
Cool and calm.
Everyone close their eyes.
That's all you need.
I'm gone, I'm gone. I'm in the shower because, of course, I know Jason Cowan's going to look at me in a minute and I'm going to laugh and Di's going to be fuming. And he'd be like, you should visualise the first tackle and the first pass and the first shot at goal and the first header. And you got all these guys like looking around at each other, messing about, whatever. Of course, over time you get used to it, don't you? And then you might appreciate, do you know what? That actually helped me. And then over time, there's no one's giggling anymore, are they? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it didn't do it.
A couple of times I thought, I was looking at the ceiling because I thought, if you or Jason Cowan or Grant or someone like that looks at me, I'm going to be the one that laughs and Di is going to string me up.
It wasn't for me, but, Di brought him in. And,
yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a stupid guy. You always give that guy respect. That's what he did.
He was a good guy, wasn't he, as well? He was...
It wasn't for me. But it worked for somebody else. You just don't know what boys got.
Not going to bring that in at Treforest then, no?
No chance. No.
You don't want Rob to come in and speak with his dulcet tones before?
No.
I could do some Wall Street, but you're like, I'm not allowed. I've got a badge.
You're all right. It's only the alliance.
I can't coach now, can I?
It's only the alliance now. You're all right. But
2 kids. I got my all that stuff with the kids stuff.
So obviously, but the thing people forget, because it's classic, isn't it? That no one forgets the runners up. But it didn't look like we were going to do it, did it, with Aberdare?
No.
Because Goitra just had to beat the Corries, didn't they?
Oh, yeah, last game of the season. Oh, their last game.
It was their last game, yeah.
Yeah.
And then, inexplicably, even though the Corries had some good players,
Yeah, I did go down to watch. I know a lot of boys did go down.
Yeah, I wouldn't have gone either. It just...
You weren't a fan of some of the good boys, right? But I weren't a fan of all of them, to be fair.
No. I still, it could be controversial, I still think they're the best Welsh League team I saw. No, I didn't see a lot of your teams, granted.
The Ton Pentre team.
But in the generation of when I've been coaching and stuff like that, they're still the best team that I saw. I think they had a bit of everything. That's a big call, because there's been some great sides won it, but I just think they had a bit of everything, that lot.
Yeah, our Ton Pentre team would have fucking took them to the cleaners.
You would say that, wouldn't you?
I'm serious, they went up. Well, I think in the middle of which
I can imagine you would have been able to stand up to the physicality.
I think we would have. I had no doubt in my mind about it. They was obviously say different, do you know what I mean? But yeah, I think we had better players. Yeah. I never went on Goitra, never feared them. Even when we went down, I think, what was I with them? I remember they beat us one night, 4-2. I think I scored 2 down here or something, but they run right at the last 20. But yeah, never feared going down there. Like some teams used to get a bit feared,
Anyway, you think, oh, Christ.
No, I used to thrive. I used to love them plays when you get your Betus and all that, and people would be like, oh, it's going to be mad over there. I think, love it. Yeah, because
it's a good place to go. The best one's a big one, isn't it?
I think when you get it, I can remember going to Betus and going to get a throw in and supporters spitting on me like, is that the best you can do, don't you? It just makes you want to win more, doesn't it? And you go and get the result, and then
we've had a couple of battles of
but I've been some good clubs around, haven't they, over the years? Clubs like your Betus, who struggling now, but shot up through the leagues,
Yeah, you look down through the pyramid.
It's a shame, like
it's bad when you see it, and you look. Well, look at Aberdare.
Ton Pentre.
So Aberdare now are 1 league above
pub football,
local league football. Yeah.
I know.
Do you know what saddens me about that? I've gone up there quite a lot in the last few years because they've ended up in the same league as Cwmbrân for a few years now. there's one little photo that big on the wall of that team that won the Welsh League, and you'd never. And they, the Aberdare have had other teams that have won things. John Erneman won a cup up there, didn't he, and stuff. Kind of no remnants of it up there really, which I find quite sad, because I'm telling you now, we're sitting in Llanrumney's clubhouse here. If we ever won a Welsh League, there'd be a statue outside.
I think it should be something. It should be proud. Players go their whole career not winning. Don't they?
Yeah.
I think, I was lucky enough to win 6, 7, whatever. But yeah, if you win one, like if you go back to Kai, really, they won one. They had a fucking bus parade run down it. I don't know what Tom would have done winning 5 on them.
Yeah.
Why never got battered for that?
That's all right.
He wasn't serious, was he? He was joking.
He wasn't serious. Nana was joking. Nana may have been serious.
I can guarantee he would have thought, this will wind everyone up, just like you like doing. And he did that. I guarantee it. There's no way he was serious. Come on. But you're right enough. Look where they are now. Do you know what I mean? Because it propelled them, didn't it? And
they should be proud of it.
Ton Pentre, right? They had a rotten time last year. They got better during the season, but
they
had some big losses, didn't they?
Too far off it.
Yeah, but Blind Ronda's gone. That was a hell of a club for a while.
Ex-club I went in.
Yeah.
Yeah, played it. Signed for a guy called Ronnie Dobbs. Absolute amazing player. I had a little spell there when I was about 19, I think, before I went to Taffs, that would have been.
What was the last club? Because you left that. Were you leaving Aberdare anyway, or did you leave when we didn't get promoted and die finished?
Yeah, it was no use for me then to stay there. I was 37. I had my boy, so I was like, and I think Ponty coming in, bit of money at Ponty again. Guy called.
It used to go. It was brilliant for years, Ponty.
Still be the same now. We watch it.
Do you think so?
Yeah, Dunford, he's done a great job with Tree Thomas and took them all over to Ponty, and you just don't know with Ponty. They could have a great start, and then the money goes Christmas, and that's it.
Yeah.
Is that the same now though with the people that run it now? I'm out of touch with all that now. I think.
I think they got perhaps more money people involved, but there's been problems the last 3-4 years, isn't it? I think if you look at all the rules, they got relegated. I think.
Oh, that's right.
I'm hearing things, players haven't been paid since Christmas and this, that, and the other. So there's always something surrounding them. There's always.
Do you think with Ponty, sometimes, like you say, you're hearing they haven't been paid since Christmas. Do you think sometimes, stuff gets around about certain clubs and it's not even true?
I don't know. I think it is sometimes. You don't lose so many players so quick. Do you know what I mean? When there's 8-9 players leave a club, they're all on money. It's not when money's gone. That's where they left, isn't it?
Yeah, true.
But then they brought a pile in. They brought Tree Thomas in, so they should be up there again. I think they'll be in the mix, if they could.
Yeah.
So they've been following as well. Although they play at Treforest, I haven't been up there since we picked up.
I don't watch, I don't get the same feel for Ponty, they don't.
No.
The uni it doesn't.
It's almost like a drive-to.
I've been 3-4 times in my career, but
I'm the same anywhere. It's not just Pontypridd. It's them, Llanrumney playing.
Yeah, it's not
over the way there on the Cardiff City 3G at the moment while they're waiting for the grass to grow here. It's not the same. It doesn't feel like. I think they doesn't feel like a home game.
I think they should be in the town. I don't know where. I get it. Whether they could share Sardish, or I know they've talked about that for years, but it should be in the town, shouldn't it? So I'm one for
this is 3G now, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, so they could do it. I'm not one for this ground sharing anyway. I don't get how you can get promoted, but then go and play 10 miles up the road on somebody else's pitch.
Yeah.
It might have been you that told me, Rod. What? Pentre got promoted out of the Cardiff League, and they're playing in the Alliance League in Cwmbrân.
Yeah.
Pentre to Cwmbrân. That's because if you lost a good half hour, isn't it?
It's crazy. Yeah. I don't get it.
The two pitches it's Pentre Rugby Club, isn't it? So the two pitches are small anyway, and there's not a barrier unless they took over the rugby pitch. The pitch is not compliant. Cwmbrân's away, isn't it? And that'll be a big cost.
They're actually a cracking young side.
It seems to be these clubs are finding money to hire pitches to do it. Yeah. Where they get it from, because what I'm told, the referee fees and all this, and But these clubs seem to find money. I don't know.
Yeah. I think they'll do all right, actually, Pentre, for the record, because we played them with Pencoed in the Cup last year, and they absolutely had us on toast for 90 minutes.
Yeah.
They were young, enthusiastic, good side, but didn't overplay. Yeah, I was impressed with them, so I'm sure they do well, but long way in there for home games.
Yeah, that's
For an entire team.
It's okay when you're winning. It's how when you lose a game.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't start well and you're down the bottom, it's
Yeah.
sometimes players can go. That's I mean,
Six Nations like us.
yeah,
Yeah, don't let the other one win then.
So you obviously got the call eventually to come into management. Were you always going to do that, or was it because Tom?
don't know. Well, I had actually.
You were at Pontypridd. We were always hearing Dean's going to take over at Pontypridd, and it never quite happened.
Max James wanted me to do my badges then. So until in 2008, so I'd been near enough 20 years ago. I remember speaking to Max regular, and he was like, get you on course and do your badges. So he's going to go, and I was like, no, I can't be off. Just as a kid.
Yeah.
Ended up on another kid at 14. I was like, I can't fucking do that. I just ain't got time. I went for the interview for the Treforest job
Mm-hmm.
on the Saturday, and then on the Sunday I had to call off Ton to say that I think it was a big hoo-ah that year because Ton finished fourth from bottom, but they were like, there was complete.
Yeah, it was the mass relegation
Like,
thing.
sign
wasn't it?
anybody for boys are saying, what league are you in? Don't know what league we're in.
Yeah.
One or two.
You know,
don't know that.
I read.
It went on all summer. Man.
I've forgotten about that for years, right? That was the biggest load of bullshit ever. All these clubs that were like, we didn't know. Bullshit. I was having conversations with them 6 months out.
Yeah.
Knew in the third division that it was 7 down or whatever it was. And then
Complete ignorance, isn't it?
absolute nonsense. They played the game, and some of them got away with it. But it was all up in the air. But like obviously we were waiting for you to come down. I was across Acadia.
See, anyway, yeah.
So, we just won the Welsh League Cup. So we were thinking, and then when we heard that you might not be coming down, we were thinking, fantastic. And then obviously you did come down. And we played your first game of the season.
Yeah.
3-3, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was
3-3 at your place, yeah.
That's your
Wednesday night, wasn't it?
unbeaten season, wasn't it? So it was
We didn't have a team for about 3 weeks to start the
Yeah,
season.
you were signing lots of boys,
7
weren't
or
you?
8 boys saying,
Yeah.
wait to see what league. And then once we were Division 2, there's about at least 5 of them just said, no, I'm staying here. And
Yeah.
I think I touched on it the other day, didn't I? I think that's where I met you the first time dealing with that, is where you played a formation that I just didn't understand. When you played against us at Crossy, when you played 2 strikers and a left winger.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, I play that quite often with my kids now, and they look at me and I say 2 lines and a left winger, and I never understood it for a long time until Gareth explained.
Yeah.
You obviously just wanted to get behind our right full back.
Wouldn't have been Reece Campbell, wouldn't he? Because he was slow. Sorry, Reece.
Yeah.
Well, he just got a job with Bristol Rovers yesterday, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what isn't that the season where we drew home in the dark against?
I think Nana scored.
There's a penalty.
We went ups and downs, but what a finish I was. I got to say that for him.
You're going to say that was a good finish. He punted it from 30 yards and it deflected over the keeper's head.
Get me on. It was all he kept saying, get me on, I'll score. And then wait. I thought, well, I can't put him on before 15, 20 minutes because he blows up for 10 minutes.
Yeah, he was real struggling with his knee by then, wasn't he? Yeah.
Last 10, I think, and I think, well, I didn't see it, but somebody said that one of you guys was already like going and do some net.
Maybe.
Committee. It was, I think, dark.
Entirely.
Obviously, Nana hit the screen and it took a deflection.
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
It was one of them that it hit the guy and then it went. You remember the goal that went in over Peter Shilton in the World Cup? Is it Bramer off the free kick?
Yeah, Andy Bramer.
Up and over, it was like that. But the crime for that, there was 2 things. We're 2-0 up.
Oh, yeah.
And it was the only. I saw you a lot last season. For 80 minutes.
I didn't think we had a shot.
For 80 minutes.
No, it wasn't.
2-0 up. And I can still see it now. Ball goes over the top, and Jake Hayward, young player, runs in. And whoever it was, your player, nearly ripped his shirt off by the arm, right? And the referee said, play on, and I'm losing my mind. I'm screaming, losing it. And then you scored 91st and 94th minute to draw 2-2, and we were going for promotion as well. And when you see then 4 weeks later, we missed out on promotion by 1 point. That was the difference. Do you know what I mean? That night, and honestly, me and him after the game, we lost it. It was I always forget his name. It was the referee that looked like Lee Evans, the comedian.
Oh yes, I didn't get involved with the rest
Actually,
of the games, but
the half-tidy ref, but oh my God, I lost it with him.
I never forgave him when, if he's listening, he knows full well I never forgave him.
we had a couple of them. I remember we went to Treforest and we were like 2-0 down.
You were the kings of it.
And I stuck Chris Owens
Yeah.
on. He scored 2 in the last 5.
Yeah.
I think at one stage I'd signed Prosser from Aberdare, right? Prosser, Chris Varden and Owens. And the three of them, again, I knew one of them would score a game. We lost Prosser to Merthyr after 7 games.
Yeah.
And then I think I just went the 2 in, just Owens and Varden. But yeah. And I brought obviously Nana, and Nana was like, just give us
Didn't you have Fowler from Aberdare good as well?
Yeah, he come in, I think. I signed him about 2 or 3 times from Buds, yeah. Yeah, he may have come in.
Yeah, but you were miles better than everyone that season. All the other
We
teams.
just scored teams, you know.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right. You used to score a lot of late goals.
Yeah.
Definitely. But there's something in that.
Yeah,
When it happens often,
Yeah.
it's not by accident.
Nah, that's right.
But so why didn't your tenure there like become a bit like Kev, like 5, 6, 7 years? Why didn't it become?
Money, really, I think.
Was it?
The budget was.
So once you went
We
back
went-
up into the top
I think
league,
the first year in the top league, we finished 5th.
Yeah.
I think we only lost 5. We drew 16 out of 50 games, lost 5, won 9, something like that. And we finished 5th. And then I think another season we finished like mid-table. But we were only paying in. It was about £350 a game. That's for the old squad. You know? People, yeah, Ton were paying big in Kevin's day, no doubt. Like, but yeah, we weren't paying loads in. And the Aberdare West were in our league. Teams like that, and yeah, we just couldn't compete. And Cwmbrân were obviously coming up as well. Like, you know, the academies were
didn't
coming in.
you took a break then after that, didn't you? Right.
I finished, yeah, down Polycod actually. Jacked it in down here. I went to Treforest for a couple of games, but I was, yeah, just a mess. And then I didn't do nothing for a year or 2, and then Cwmbran Celtic.
That's right.
Gave
Yeah.
me the call. Was that before you, wasn't it?
No, it was after me.
After you, was it?
Yeah, I remember speaking to a guy, John Stockwell, who's a real good guy on the committee there. And Celtic's problem had always been, I mean, me coming from Cross Acadiog was big news, right? But like, it was always quite an insider club. 2 or 3 times they like promoted someone that used to play for them years ago that was on the committee. And obviously Della used to become manager, but he never really
Well,
wanted
Della
to be
recommended
manager.
me. That's why I had the.
And I spoke to John Stockwell and said, like,
Yeah.
well, you can get Dean. Look, I know you don't necessarily like outsiders, but it might be what you need. Because that group of lads had done amazing for so long. I wondered if they just needed a new voice. Like,
Yeah, they worked. I think when training session, just something about it I liked. And I think
They were
at the
cracking
time they did loads of games down we had. I know that.
yeah.
And we were like bottom half, well in the bottom half. But we had like 6, 7 games.
Yeah.
I think we had 21 games left. I think we won 18, and we went up as runners up.
Yeah.
I don't know who won it. But yeah, they've got good players, isn't it? And Bully and Army up front again. You just got 2 boys who could score goals, like, and it makes a difference. Like,
Boys that had run as well, filled with boys who'd run.
back, Cash was a fit boy with Billy, you know. Yeah, they were a decent team. Again, when we went the league above, I think we finished 5th or 6th that year. Yeah, I knew my time was done here. Like, do you know what I mean?
Did you? Why was that?
Don't know. Well, I had a bit going on, like, personally. So yeah, a couple of games I couldn't make for personal reasons, and yeah, I think it was a Barry game, Barry Town. We drew in a little down Barry Town, yeah, and I knew I was one of my last games. Like, yeah.
We've had a message about your 0-0 draw at Barry Town. You went down to 10 men, didn't you?
10 men after about 5 minutes. I think.
So the allegation that we had sent to us on Twitter, I've shown it to you, is that Cookie got sent off after about 10 minutes, and at half time it's still 0-0. And the allegation is that you've grabbed one of the Barry players by the crotch at half time to wind them up and get it, and it all kicked off in the tunnel. And that's basically what you were trying to get him to do, was to try and take their mind off the game.
A lot of people don't know what happened that day. So, and this is where you find out a bit about Dean Morris. Half 11 before that game, I had to sit my 9-year-old and 6-year-old boy down
I remember.
to tell them their mum had about 8 weeks left.
Yeah, I do remember it was around that time.
The deal was I wasn't with their mum. I was
Yeah.
with But the deal was that I'd do that, and then boys, my oldest used to come, but I'll take the 2 boys for taking mind of it. And we had Barry that day. So I said to the boys, I said, yeah, I've got 11, something like that. I was sitting down and tell them, you've got 6-8 weeks left. So that was that. So obviously, probably the worst day of my life.
Yeah,
my
of
mum's
course.
died, my dad's died.
Yeah.
That was the worst day by a million miles I've ever had to do anything I've had to do.
Yeah, around 6 and 9 they were.
6.
Yeah.
So we then goes to Barry, jumps in the car, stops on the way, gives him the sweets, goes to Barry. I knew Jenna Park, so they could have plenty of room to run around, but I do the team. And we were on it, I was on it because it took my mind off things. And then 10 minutes in, Cookie got sent off. Probably a red, it was eye tackle.
Cookie liked the red card.
But obviously, Gavin has gone ballistic on the side, made a meal, he's running out of his technical area. I was obviously the physio, so for 20 minutes, half hour down, I'm telling boys, go down. I'm running on. As I'm running on with the physio bag, chucking water bottles behind me, it's going to grab the water, just wait seconds, crowd are going nuts. It was mad, and I knew what I was doing, but it was riling them up. Gavin was absolutely going mental. As we walk in at half time, all the players are going in, the views and everything. And I think I grabbed Luke Cooper, who I speak to now. I see him now and again, I follow him on Facebook. We're not mates or pals, but we speak if we see each other. He's a nice lad, and he kicked off going in. But I went in and said to the boys, I'll do my bit, you got to do your bit. I'll keep riling them. We'll get something out of this. And we did. And as the game were on, there was only one winner.
Yeah.
As every minute went by, I thought, we're going to break away. Bully, Hammy will guess it.
Yes. Yeah.
And we got the draw, and I think I spoke to Gav after he come in, and he wanted to speak to me in his office. And I said, no, I don't win nobody's office. He spoke to me, I'm by the bar, I'm having a pint, I'm watching the boys are running around. And I spoke to him, and, I said to him what happened. And he was great, I got to be fair. We never seen eye to eye, we pulled apart.
I was always aware of that, because I always struggled a bit with it, because I got on with you, and I always got on with Gav. I thought you were both great guys, but I couldn't work out how the two of you just rubbed each other up.
It was just football. I didn't know him. He didn't know what I'd done in my life. I didn't know what he'd done. I knew his coaches and all that. But we just sort of I think it was perhaps a bit to do with me, what I mean? He's got all the badges I haven't, so I don't think it was me as a manager. So in my head, them days when I play them people who've got the A license, who's working in academies, and I mean professional academies, not your fucking Cwmbrans or all this, because they're not academies. Let's not pick bones about it.
Depends how you define academy, I suppose.
Yeah, but they're not professional, what I mean? But he's working in them, and so I'd always be, you want to show it. I've got something about me. I've got a badge, but I fucking know my shit. So and I just think it was that. So we just rub each other the wrong way. I knew how to wind him. He screwed up the technical area, and but he was a nice guy. I've seen him once or twice since, and he's a tiny guy.
But you were known for that as a player and as a manager, weren't you? Shithousery, they call it nowadays, but an absolute wind-up merchant, weren't you?
I think it was. I think Richard Ryan said it once, talking to somebody said about Dino, and he said, do you know what? He said he's one of those players that you hate playing against him, you love him on your side. And I'd do that, your game's not going, and it needs that sometimes in a game. A game's not going your way, it's a bit flat, bang, you just create something. There's a little bit of a handbags, and all of a sudden, we just.
I used to enjoy it. I was only with him for a season, right? But I could still probably, if you gave me a minute, recall 5 or 6 times where you hear a noise nowhere near the ball, there's a scream, and Dean's lying on the floor holding his face because he said something in someone's ear or something like that. They've reacted, but there's a red card when Dean's on the floor like this.
That's one of the things not being involved in senior football that I miss is the wind up. I won't say who it is. Gareth knows what I'm talking about. I'll tell you later. But we used to play a certain player who I used to work with, and I'd love going on the pitch with the meddy bag to someone on the floor, being within earshot, and making a comment and just looking. Just give him a little glance, and I could see I made.
Let's tell the world you're on about Richard.
There we go. I'd literally get within earshot of him, say something about him. Only play on a 5 years old, he can't turn in tugboat, Titanic, just anything, and just look at him and wink and smile, and I knew
His head terrible, Jake.
his head was gone. But in fairness, and I will say a few, Rich, in fairness, we did it to him when we were at Porth, when he came up with Chepstow, didn't he?
He scored the winner, didn't
He scored the winner, and he made a point of running to me, and I did say to him after, and I deserve that.
Yeah,
I deserve that. I used to love getting in his ear because he piped all the time.
You were like it in the dugout as well, weren't you? Right from the start, because you used to have murder with everyone. Because I don't know whether it's because we knew each other from having worked together or whatever. Like, you used to say the odd little thing, and like maybe one of my coaches or whatever would react, and I go, "Don't fucking bite to that. He's just winding you up." I just used to stand there, sort of smirking, almost admiring what you were trying to get away with. But there was another top guy. You used to have Del Brazil in your pocket.
Yeah, Del.
For wine, because Del used to ring me on the Monday and go, but when he was a Goitra, you used to, like, honestly, used to make him want to kill you.
We went down here once, and I think we were both doing well. I think it was early doors of the ones when we went back in Division 1, and we were like 4-5 unbeaten. They went, I think, 2-0 up, and then we eventually, and he was given a big time, he was suited up on the side, and he just got the trackie on.
They had a suit on.
He was like, $1 million, like, and he
It must have been some.
shouting at the touch line, and he's, when you just take it, don't you? You just got to keep your head down, and all of a sudden we turned around, and we 4-2, I think it was 4-2, and he sat down, like, and I'm shouting at his assistant, get him up, he's having it now, and yeah, I give him about half hour of abuse. But again, you go in the bar after, and he was like, he'd done me like, pint, he was first grade, pint, yep. But today as well, a lot of that's gone.
Yeah.
Do you know what happens now, right? Today, it goes from not speaking to each other to, like, you think they might actually attack you.
Yeah.
There's none of that bravado anymore. There's nothing in the middle ground where it is just blokes blowing off steam. Yeah. It's like, people actually want to jump in the dugout and fight you.
Yes. I don't know. I just think a lot of that is taking out the football in to academies, but I think it's breeding through, because they've got these youngsters who perhaps go into academy with a little bit of fire, a little bit of steel, and they're taking that out of him because they don't want him to do that. They want him to be calm and relaxed and pass. So you had Ben say last week, the amount of youngsters that are just falling by the wayside at 17, 18, because they trained through they sold the dream. And I get it, because some of these youngsters then think that when they're 18, they're just going to waltz out of an academy and walk into a Cymru South team picking up 250, 300 quid. And I'm like, got no chance, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, and there was a lad from this area, it was about 6-7 years ago, and he'd been through all that sort of route. So half the problem for him, he couldn't come back and play for Llanrumney, because it'd be like...
Oh, it's too far down.
Like, because he's lived off for years a status in the area because he was a fantastic young player. And I remember standing at the presentation one night, and he was there because he had mates that were in the team and stuff. He's about 18. He's telling them I'm probably going on loan to TNS next year. And you just think, they wouldn't have you as kit man.
Nah, it's
the level of football they're playing for them. Do you know what I mean?
It's crazy, it is.
It's but I do think it's hard for kids like that when they've had the whole, like I was saying when we were talking to Ben, their parents have got them all over Facebook signing a contract.
Oh yeah.
Cardiff, Swansea, Bristol, wherever. It's hard for them now to go back and play for Splot Albion, isn't it? Because it's like
they've been, you said, they've been built so hard up, and I think there's got to be some way, where these youngsters got to go and play. I think they're having under 21 league now.
Yeah, totally.
Honestly, it's bollocks.
I don't see that one at all.
The development league is bollocks. That is, because half of them play the first team who don't play.
Yeah.
Penbont, they've got about five players. You've got boys training every Tuesday, Thursday, and then on Sunday, about 5 first teamers walk in and play. Because they need games. But then boys who've trained every Tuesday, Thursday, travelling on fucking Wales.
Yeah.
But they all do it. So they're going, we're doing under 21s now. I
dilutes it, doesn't
it? They got to stop doing that, you know what I mean? And
in the pro game they say if you're 22, 23 and you're still playing under 23 football, start planning for your future outside the game.
100%.
If you're if you're in Welsh football and you're playing under 21s league for a Welsh League club, 2021, like, I want to go and sign in the Alliance or the Gwent Premier because that's probably your level.
Play.
You'd play in a first team where next week someone's not dropping down and putting you on a bench, and
sometimes
teams changing every week. And
go and play against men, I'd say to my boy now, he's 18 coming up, and I'd say, play against men.
yeah,
It's time to learn, no? Like,
I loved that job.
it's time to step up, like.
I only played 2 youth football matches and then played men's football.
Yeah,
Exactly, youth.
I did with you as well, didn't I?
Yeah.
I played football.
15
I was 15 playing with Gareth and the boys on a Sunday. But that was with a group of boys who'd look after me. To be fair, they say they look after me. I loved playing in that game. Now, my boy's, he's nearly 14 in a couple of weeks. And we're talking about what next and, where we're going and everything else. But you're right in that is, you imagine chucking him in his dap now at 15, he get bent. Aggression, everything he's got, but men's game, I loved playing men's game.
You learn more, don't you? You know what I mean? You've got to learn more.
You had Darren Ainsworth centre mid in that Sunday team.
Oh, yeah. Played it.
Darren Ainsworth and Andy Gorman as well, the ex-City player, wasn't it? Yeah, he played for Quins for years, didn't he?
And Waleed, don't forget Waleed.
No one would know Waleed, but
Waleed player.
I reckon Waleed Abbas is the best player I ever played with. He was an Egyptian guy, moved over here, he married a girl, and he just played local football and played with us on a Sunday. He played right back, and I think he scored 32 goals in the Sunday league.
The old the Perry thing, it's escape the victory, and then when he gave him the ball, I do this, I do this, I do this. What a player from right back, and all of a sudden you look, and he'd pass you the ball, he'd be gone.
He was incredible. He was incredible. He hardly spoke any English, but just, played right back. And you'd think but I bet he was never right back if he scored all those goals. He was. Yeah. He's one of the fittest boys you'll ever see.
Sitting outside the dressing room, I had no idea what anyone was saying to him, just smiling, laughing, and the boys taking the piss all the time.
He was brilliant.
Lovely boy.
Going back, that's one of the only things where these academies have got a big thing over junior clubs.
Yeah.
Is that game's never off.
Yeah.
Never, ever off.
It's true.
Where I look, same as when I'm really involved in football, I look at the Cymru app, and from end of November to February, your local under 18 and the 16s, 15s, 14s, you may as well pack in for 3 months.
Yeah.
Because the council just call games off.
It's one of the things, one of my biggest things.
And it's, for young, they wonder why they're losing youngsters then, because, if you've got a 15-year-old, 16-year-old who ain't playing for 3 months over Christmas, well, within 3 months, mate, he's lost the love for it. He's doing something else.
It's exactly what happened to us last year.
All they speak to is how these teams are struggling, that's all I hear.
I challenge the Cardiff District League quite often about saying, playing, start the season earlier. We start when the kids go back to school, we start the Saturday after. Yeah. So what's that? Middle of September. Whereas in the seniors will go back mid-August. Now I get it with pitches and schools and everything else. But we played our last game before the winter break was Gareth's middle of November, and we missed 14 weeks. 14 Saturdays later, we played our next game.
You get the odd one, what they used to get, if it's snow or if it's really heavy, but and that's where youngsters are, like I said, they fall in love.
Well, they find other things to do.
PlayStations,
phones, routines.
Yeah, they just...
Everyone's the same. Routines, isn't there? But, so, you've come full circle. You mentioned you went for the Treforest interview before you went to Ton. It's come out last week that you're going to Treforest.
Yeah, just fancy getting back in, and a couple of boys I know there, they've asked me for the last couple of months on and off. I've had a couple of other offers in the Welsh League to go back to, but I just think it's a nice little club.
I've actually always thought that's the word I've always used for it. It is a club, isn't it? It's not a football team.
You've got a club.
It is a club with a decent following, and if they have a good team, they get good crowds.
They can do. Hopefully, I can do something there. But you just get a feel for some clubs.
What did you miss then? What made you want to go back?
Sometimes I think, what the fuck am I doing? But
as a manager, something left me about 3 years ago. I can't describe it, but something wasn't there one day, and it never came back. I can't imagine it ever coming back for me.
Lawrence Badman, and I've spoken to a couple of boys, and he'd say, you wasted, they've said to me, not just to try and get back involved, you wasted, you'd be good with a group of lads, I do like a club that is a proper club.
Mm.
I've always, if you look at the clubs I've gone with, Cwmbran, Celtic, they've all been clubs who've got good local lads.
Yeah.
I like that. The pint after you get a good atmosphere, and you can try and build something with local lads. So that's the plan. We'll just see how it goes. Do you know what I mean? But I think they're a club that there's they've got two youth teams.
Yeah.
First, a reserved, numerous kids team. So they got things going right. Whether we can get them winning, we know that's easier said than done sometimes. But I'll give it a go.
First time I went there, I just thought, just purely ground and club and everything. You just look at it and you just think like, this club should be higher up really than it is.
There's a lot of teams. You've got Welfare, you've got Pontyclun, you've got Aberdare. Obviously, you've got Ponty in the Welsh League. So you've got a lot of teams in like a 4 or 5 mile radius, which sucks a lot of players up. But let's give it a go, innit?
Yeah.
I felt I wanted to do something again. My oldest boy was playing, he's driving now. So my youngest is 15, so he don't rely on me so much. So, I got a bit more time on my hands as well. So, we'll just give it a go and see what happens.
It'd be good to see that, because I know when I spoke to you after you finished the Porth, I thought you were done.
Yeah,
I think you told me you were done.
Yeah, well, yeah. My kids were younger. My boys.
What was the final straw at Porth, Dean?
Fine. I think it was your game, wasn't it?
Was it us beating you 10-0?
I think the watch. I had a chat after the game. Remember?
You looked broken after that football match because again, like I could probably appreciate it more than most of the people from Llanrymni that were there that night. Because I know the pedigree you've had as a player and as a coach, and for you to have been stood in that dugout watching what you were watching that night, that must have been.
You try and be loyal. Hugh was a great guy. He was, tirelessly for other clubs. He helps people out with whatever they
the ground criteria and stuff. Yeah,
absolutely
top man.
Guy.
Yeah,
and sometimes you just owe it to them. And I kept saying I'll give another game, but after that.
What made you go there in the first place? Because they'd been on their arse for a couple of years before you.
Hugh, I'd known him for years.
Kev had been there.
Kev had been there. I'd known him for years. Hugh, and he was like just coming out with us out, and I think so. It's all right, it's relegation and all that, but sometimes you just got to help people, isn't it? It's all about, we take enough, you know what I mean? And I've took enough over the years, you know what I mean? I've been at Ton Pentre, I've been at other clubs with money and had a bit of money, and you keep take. Sometimes it's good to give money. And so what? You help somebody, it didn't work out, you give your best shot. That's all you can do.
Yeah, that's the point, though, you give it your best.
Yeah. And they know they'll get that. They know I'll try and get them organised, I'll try and get proper players in, I'll be honest with people.
Did you find it, though, players of that level, when you're trying to get them organised, you're trying to put them into a shape? One of the things that you've repeatedly done really well.
That's the hardest,
They don't, it's a generalisation, but they don't take the instruction.
They don't grasp it,
and they look at you like you've got two heads.
Yeah, that is hard when you do that.
There was a goal that night. I think your goalkeeper rolled it out to our winger, and you're 3-0 down after 20 minutes, and he rolled it to our winger, and it's 4-0. I remember you having an absolute thromby at him. And he's sort of looking at it, and he's arguing back. He was arguing back, and that was the thing. I remember looking across the pitch and just thinking, why are you arguing back? You've just thrown it straight to our winger.
It is hard, but I think you mellow in years, don't you? You get a bit calmer, and you're like...
I'll remind you of this when you've lost 3 on the bounce now, and
Well, the pressure's on, isn't it? I spout off nothing on Twitter, so I got
a few people to be starring Treforest on the app.
Some fuck when I went a flight guide, the results were good, so I pulled it off. But yeah, sometimes you don't come off, does it?
Yeah.
Both didn't, I tried.
But that's the thing, that the lower down the levels you've got, that's one of the big things is the players at those levels, is that you can have players with talent and players that are good with the ball, but they can't necessarily take instruction. And that's one of the hardest bits I found when I first came to Llanrymni, because it was obviously... Back then, it was probably 3-4 leagues lower than we'd been for 15 years. It was silly things. It wasn't formations or anything else. It was things like you play the ball into midfield and the midfielder gets on a half turn and you'd say, stop trying to put it over the fullback or thread it. Just roll it to the winger.
Yeah.
Just roll it to... And the 57th time you've said it because they've clipped it down the channel again, you can't understand why it doesn't just sink in.
That'll be frustrating, but it's what, isn't it? You just got to...
Give you a tip, right? Because we come to the end of the conversation because, you got work in the morning. But the best example of that, so we had a fantastic young player at Llanrymni when I we were in Division 2, yes. The year we won Division 2 of the Alliance. And Keaton Lammy, his name was, right? Very quick, tricky forward. He knew where the goal was. We used to play him on the left because he was quite small, front three. And I could not get the fucker to come in at the far post when the ball's going down the opposite wing, right? I tried we coached him. I cuddled him. I ran entire sessions that were set up for this to happen 15 times. And the ball had come in from the right in a game, and he's out on our wing there. And the ball had come in, and he's out on the wing there. And I could not get him to get this point. I screamed, and I remember the day I lost it in the changing room with him, because I got to that point where I'm like, I can't say this again. Yeah. And he come back at me, and I'm screaming, and everyone else is like, ah. And I'm watching Match of the Day that night. And Raheem Sterling's still playing for Man City. And he scored 3 goals, all far post tap-ins, right? And I've gone, I wonder. And I videoed it on my phone, and I WhatsApped the goals to him. And I went, this is what I'm talking about. Next week, in he comes, tap in at the far post, scored about 5 or 6 for the rest of the season. Just tap-ins at the far post. And I'm like, all those badges, all those Sundays at Treforest, learning coaching press, just send him a clip because he lives on his WhatsApp. And that was one of the things I found challenging now. So it'd be interesting to see what your experience of that is now. Now you've had a little break.
It won't be easy, I know, but yeah.
What's the ambition up there? Isn't it like if you said to the chairman or the main drivers of the club, what's the ultimate ambition? Is it to become, as we used to say in old money, a Welsh League club?
I think certainly first and foremost they've got to get into your highest ambition.
Alliance Premier.
Yeah. Which, as we know, is a few clubs in there throwing dollar around. So even in that league, there's budget 600, 700, 800 quid a game. Mm-hmm. So we got to get to there first, and we're not set up at the moment to even do that. I wouldn't have thought. So yeah, we just see how it goes. Do you know what I mean? I like the feel of there. I like the all local boys. They all seem great lads. It's fucking great lads in football, only, but they are good lads. You know what I mean? They all want to play for Treforest, which helps for a start. Yeah, because half the players today, this time of year, they're looking for a tenner down the road or something.
My favourite.
We've been sending some naughty tweets out along that line on me the last few days, and there was a tweet that went out today, and it was like, there's. These clubs are announcing that so and so have committed for the season. Well, the window only opened this morning, so and we were like, one's in Iron Appa, 2 are waiting for an offer from Cosmopolitan, and another one of them claims that Nana's texting him all the time. Yeah. And a couple of people are like tagging Nana Bar in the tweet. The tweet's not about Nana Bar. Yeah. It's the type of lie that players tell the likes of us this time of year. Oh, Nana's been in touch. And you're thinking, no, he hasn't.
I just miss that side of it. Obviously the Welsh League side. Yeah. Because I don't think you perhaps get it. You may get a bit of it, but it's not as bad as the Welsh League side, is it? But yeah, so I don't miss that. Yeah, obviously I'm going to try and bring a couple in, but it's not to the extent where boys are like, hanging out for the fiver, which
some of those negotiations are quite entertaining. We had a couple when I was at Crossy, when I was speaking to a few people for Gareth, and I won't say what it is, but one player's actual negotiation was, if you give me a case of Peroni and buy me a Chinese, I'll play for you.
Why are we not naming him again? It's fucking Richard Jago. Richard Jago, that.
Honestly, a case of Peroni and buy me a Chinese, I'll come play for you.
Can't fucking drink a case of morning, can he? The best one I had was Chrissy Owens. When he came at on, he said, that's all I ask after. He said, can I have a fag half time? I said, I don't know about that. I said, Ton Pentre committee ain't going to be happy with that, Brian Bees. And he's like, but what if I score 2-3 a game? I said, well, we'll see how he goes. Yeah. And I think he scored something that year, like 26 and
he was amazing.
He was, could have and should have gone. There's no doubt. Yeah. And he'd go for a puff half time. I remember Brian Bees, the chairman, pulling me and going, Dean, we need to sort this out. I said, well, you go and fucking tell him, because if you tell him not, he's gone. And if he goes, mate, we fucking struggle to score.
Yeah.
Oh,
He was amazing.
we'll
that
just
season.
leave him to it then, he said. I said, yeah, he's only 2 minutes, he's all right. And he'd go out and steps out of the way, like.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was just a rogue. He was fabulous.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
He was incredible.
Good God, I remember saying to Gary Shepherd when he was up in Merthyr, and he said, mate, if he'd done 6-8 weeks and he got his knuckle down, got his head down, trained hard, got a bit fitter, just lived life a little bit better, he'd tear it up, but he just couldn't do it. Like, just didn't want him.
So you're doing it now for the enjoyment and the love, because when you first started, like when we're all young and we go into it, we're going to win the Champions League, aren't we? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, just do it so I can get something back in it. If we can make him a bit better, and that's my plan. You know what I mean? It's going to be nothing complicated. It's just going to be get them organised. We'll work on set pieces. We're just going to be strong. Try and be strong. We're trying to be fitter than anybody else. That's the plan. And we'll go from there. If I can get 1 or 2 in who I want, great. I think it'll help us. But as we know, these boys are training with about 8 clubs. So. And that's the thing, I don't chase no more years ago. You're on the phone, you're constantly in touch with them. Now I'm just like, these are the dates, mate, if you're coming, you come in. Yeah. I've gone in life now. I don't fucking bug with things like that. I'm too old and stuff, and I can't be asked. Yeah. You either come in, if you don't want to fucking play for the club, fuck off elsewhere. And then you tend, I've done our 1 or 2 over the years, and then they come back to you. They're like, oh yeah, I'd really like to.
Yeah. It is a mad time of year. It really is. But like I've said this to so many managers as they're coming into it. Like obviously as I've been coming to the back end of my time managing teams. It's
worse now because of the money, isn't it?
Every single player this time of year, right, is an utter liar.
Yeah.
Even the lads that you think are the nicest. And once the season starts, they're good as gold again. Yeah. But it's the one time of year where the player holds all the power. Yeah. Whereas the manager holds the power normally, don't they? Especially if you've had one club already, whether you play or not is down to me. And now the season's finished, and now that manager is like grovelling almost.
It's the lies, isn't it?
Can't plan.
That's the one.
I can remember, I think into Cardiff, I went training with them once, and I went to Cwmbrân come in, because a lot of boys from Ton used to go back and forth with him at the helicopter, keep a couple of other boys. And I remember having an offer for 2 of them and going training with Ton, and Kevin said, Inter and Cwmbrân for. And he said, yeah, what are you doing? I said, I don't know what they offered. I told him what they offered. I'm only paying you £10 less now, and you're living 10 minutes away. You're going to be trying. Yeah, I know. He said, do you want to go? And I said, no. Well, fucking pick the phone up and tell him, no, you're not going.
Yeah.
And I go, okay, I'll do it. When he phones me tomorrow, I'll tell him no. And you did. Yeah. You're just like, today, I think.
The thing is, you're so old, though. They probably used to have to ring your house, didn't they?
They would probably play him off today, wouldn't they? They'd do that for 2 weeks.
Yes, play him off, play him around each other.
This is going to make him feel really wanted. I'm going to stay, but I won't tell him yet. And
it's the attention they like sometimes.
It's the players, it's the teammates, it's the
10, 20 going to give it.
I don't get it.
I get it. If you're in the Cymru South now and Welsh Prem, we're talking big money if the figures are right. And sounds like they are. I totally get it. But when it's like in the lower leagues and you're talking an extra £5 or £2.
Yeah, you'll spend that on petrol. And
it's really like.
It's a boy, right? He went from Llanrumney season before last when Sam O'Sullivan and Woody were managers. And he signed for a club that is about a 40-minute drive away from here, and he lives here in Llanrumney. And he was told he was going to get like 30 quid a game plus petrol and all this. And he got to the end of the season and he hadn't had anything, so he questioned it. And they gave him 30 quid. And they worked out that he played for £1.30 a game. He's going back and forth twice a week. 40-minute drive.
He's not playing with his mate. And especially with the younger boys today, I think it's great if he can play with their mates, or if you can be with a senior team as well, if you're 18, 19 and you're playing with some senior guys, I think it's fab, isn't it? It's the best time of your life, don't you? With older guys, they look at you a tour.
Exactly,
you learn to drink, you learn so much with them.
Yeah.
And people say it's not. Yeah, it's still there. You go to these lower league clubs.
In certain clubs it's there.
You get a bit of banter. You go your dummy club. You knock a couple of halves back. It's brilliant for 19. It's the best years of your life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, if you're good enough and you can go Cymru South or Welsh Prem and pick up 3, 4, 5, 600, yeah, go and fucking do it. Of course,
Absolutely. Knock
I would. If
yourself
you
out.
can't and you want to learn, there's no better place. You know what I mean? Just, but yeah, it is tough, and yeah, I think it's the whole structure got to be sorted, haven't it? Because you're not going to track these boys. The games are called off all the time, because I think a big thing is that. You know, I think with the academy clubs, you know, it is great to see them every Sunday. You know that game's on. You just know.
That is true. I've actually never thought of that before. That is true.
My boy, like I'm a Saturday footballer. You know what I mean? I don't like fucking Friday nights. I love a Saturday 3 o'clock.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, same here. Yeah.
Down, get home smashed. Now, like my boy's, you know, Saturday he's starting to do things. You know, and he's prepping for the game, and I'm like, you know, I see no playing on Sunday game, like again.
Yeah.
But like that's what they do now.
Yeah.
He does. He loves it because it's. Games
he enjoys it. It's fine, isn't it? As long as he's not missing out on his
no, he's not.
If he enjoys it, that's fine.
But yeah, you know, it's and I get it. You know, like you said, they're never off, and he got a little off at his age now. Like, you know, he's all right. He's got a chance. You know, he's got a little bit of physicality about him. But he does love Ton Pentre. Like he loves, because he said the games are always on, the coaches are good. He said I like the boys, a good bunch of boys, and I do. I'd say enjoy it. Just keep playing and enjoy it. But I'd say at some stage, you know, you're going to have to play against men. He's 18 now, coming up, so. But he got time, like. But I get when, because I look at the fixtures, like I said, and I see all these games, and the fucking council's calling them off on Thursday, and you know, if it's rain the week after.
You know what? There was one year in Cardiff last year where it got called off, even though there was no bad forecast, because the council said we've been on for 6 straight weeks now. The pitches need a rest. Now I work in golf, right?
Yeah.
At that time of year,
playing daily,
giving the pitch a rest has done nothing for the turf.
No, exactly.
We've had some. We've had some in last season whereby, and this obviously wouldn't have been when I was playing as a kid. All of the teams are all in a WhatsApp group. So whether you're in the 3-4 divisions, they're all in one big group. And then we had a game that I wanted to play at Pontcanna. And I went to check the pitch at 4 o'clock on the Friday night, and I videoed it, right? 7 o'clock that night, ping, 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 off, Pontcanna off, Pontcanna off, Blackware's off. I'm back saying, I checked the pitch at 4 o'clock. There is nothing wrong with it. There's not a drop have come out of the sky. They are playable. Council called it off.
Yeah, some children's reasons they come up with anything, don't they?
There you go.
There's just a couple that we've had, a couple of questions we had sent in, Dean, that I have to make sure I ask, because people are good enough to take the time. So we mentioned the Barry Town story there, and then you've given the background and everything to it. You are famous for a bit of shithousery and wind-ups. Have you got a favourite, playing or coaching?
I got a couple, but the 2 out of my favourite, I can't say them, so... Probably what I said.
So what I messaged you the other day has got to be one of them. We couldn't say that.
Is that one, isn't it? I know that.
The 2, yeah.
You can't say that one.
Other than that, I don't know really. Probably the Deck Brazil one done great too, but he totally fucking lost it, to be fair. Like, he lost the plot.
I'm not surprised, to be fair. That's what he said to him.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I think to me, I just done them sort of gamely.
Yeah. Just off the cuff, like.
Yeah, I do think it's just a spark, something, because...
The other question was, and he was put across tongue-in-cheek, Gary Taylor, the Lido manager, he sent us a message on the Instagram account, and he's delighted to hear you doing badges, and he said, does this mean now next season you'll be playing with a low block?
I haven't got a clue. My boy keeps telling me about this stuff, and I go, break it down to me now. What the fuck is on? And he goes, the coaches, they want them.
It's funny that all that stuff is brilliant.
Gary.
People I've known for 10 years start talking to me about mid-blocks. And I'm like, when has this slipped into your vocabulary? Because we've never had these chats before.
Not for me, but... Maybe Gary should have done it 2 years ago. Ponadawi wouldn't have got relegated. I'm watching him. He's sure like
shots fired, Gary. Shots fired.
They sure kept him up with the skin of their teeth. Needs to fucking produce it. Sure he does.
Well, look at this.
Watching. Look out. I need off Twitter, Gary. Let me tell you that. Well, one of the jobs I was going to take, that was actually in the I was offered a job in the Welsh League,
Yeah.
but I had to come off Twitter.
Oh, right.
So I obviously declined.
I'd never do that.
But yeah, that was one of the things that they wanted me to come off. Like so.
Yeah. If you enjoy that type of stuff, you enjoy that type of
I
stuff.
don't really go on it so much now. You know,
No, you don't post very often, do you?
said what I wanted to fucking say. But
You'll be on in about 8 weeks' time when it's 3-4 weeks into the season. You'll be retweeting people's projects and stuff like that. Going, you bottom of the league.
If we win the first 3 or 4, I'd be fucking on it. Let me tell you.
You do know
If we don't,
Welsh football Twitter is coming for you if you lose the first
you
three.
know, right there.
We could talk to you all night, mate, as every time we come together. But just thanks very much for coming on. Like I say, you've been eagerly awaited. As soon as we launched what we were doing, who would you like to see? Jesus, you must have been half the suggestions that we received. So fair play to you for straight away saying yes and coming on. But the thing I hope people get from this episode really is that the people that don't know you and they just know the caricature, you can see there's a decent guy in there, do you know what I mean, who just likes the odd wind up on Twitter sometimes.
Yeah, you're my best.